The Huawei MateBook X Pro was recently launched and the company has been kind enough to send us a review unit early. So we've decided to put it to the test for your decision making. Boasting the new 10th generation Intel Core processors and Huawei's in-house features, here's our review of the Huawei MateBook X Pro. The Huawei MateBook X Pro is powered by the Intel Core i7-10510U processor, and is also paired with Nvidia GeForce's MX250 graphics card with 16 gigs of RAM and 1TB of PCIe SSD. For its display, it uses a 13.9-inch IPS panel that is also touchscreen and capable of 3K resolution. On its keyboard, like its predecessor, it also has the pop-up webcam, which has a 1-megapixel sensor. Around the laptop, you will find 4 digital microphones and a quad speaker system. The laptop has a 56 Wh battery that supports 65-watt fast charging. To be honest, the Huawei MateBook X Pro looks and feels a lot like the older MacBook Air, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Huawei managed to make it an entirely different device by adding subtle hardware and software changes here and there to make it unique. We got the space grey version of the MateBook X Pro, so it looked even more like the MacBook Air. On the outside, you get your Huawei logo etched on the middle of the surface. Around the bottom, there are no cutouts for ventilation except for this large strip near the hinge area. This is the only spot where air is drawn in from the top and bottom of the laptop. Apart from that, there are also 4 circular rubber feet to slightly elevate the laptop to promote better airflow and cooling, as well as to keep it from sliding around on the table. Opening up the laptop, there's a small cutout on the bottom half, making it easier to open your laptop with one finger or thumb. Most brands can't get it right sometimes, but I'm glad Huawei managed to balance the laptop nicely so that it can be opened single-fingerly. First thing you'll notice is that everything is big, but in a good way. Despite the machine being so small, Huawei packed a large screen, keyboard, and trackpad nicely into a compact body. I was fully captivated with how good the MateBook X Pro's display looked. For a good hour, I totally forgot it had a touchscreen. This 13.9-inch 3K IPS display adopts the Huawei Ultra Full View display technology, which gives it a 91% screen-to-body ratio. And that's really helpful because it gives you more screen real estate despite being in a smaller chassis. It also has a 3:2 aspect ratio, which lets you see more things vertically. Regardless, I must say that visuals look impeccable on the MateBook X Pro's display. No matter what you're doing on the screen, details are sharp and the colors are vivid. They really pop, especially when you're watching content like anime in Full HD or playing games. As the webcam is something I seldom use, I didn't mind it being embedded within the keyboard itself. The pop-up mechanism is pretty smart and a way better privacy measure than sticking tape over your webcam. And because it is within the keyboard, the display then has space to expand all the way to the top, eliminating the bezels. However, if you do use it, you might show a larger chin because of the fixed angle it's positioned in, so it might not be really popular with girls. Using the Huawei MateBook X Pro as my daily laptop, I realized that the more I used it, the more I didn't want to return it. It's 1.33 kg light and super portable to bring around the house since I'm working from home. A Windows laptop is pretty standard because Windows features are universal across all devices, so there really isn't much to say about it. But Huawei has managed to fuse their DNA into the MateBook X Pro with a piece of software called PC Manager. Now with this software, you can easily check the status of your PC and fix them, do a hardware check to make sure everything's running proper, search for updated drivers, access the user manual and FAQ. The PC Manager's notification center is also built right into the taskbar for easier access. That way, you can easily check your PC status, notifications, documents you've transferred, and also your shared clipboard history. Just like Huawei smartphones, the laptop also comes with a built-in screen recorder feature. This lets you record everything you're doing on your screen and not just for recording gaming sessions. In the notification center, there are also shortcut buttons to screenshot, screen recorder, calculator, notepad, and phone connection. Now speaking of phone connection, with NFC built in, the PC also supports Huawei Share. This allows me to connect my Mate 20 Pro just by tapping the back of my phone on the Huawei Share label that's right below the arrow keys. This unlocks even more features like rapid file sharing with one hop and multi-screen collaboration. Just by selecting the images or files I want, tapping the back of my phone on the laptop immediately sends all the files over in quick succession. Not only that, the multi-screen collaboration feature lets me use my smartphone on the laptop itself, literally. The features mentioned above all work really well, and feels very cohesive. Never have I felt that it was lagging or had a drop connection, and I'm really impressed Huawei could pull off such a feature to improve upon Windows' standard set of features. Moving on to the keyboard, I type a lot. And I will say, the keyboard on the MateBook X Pro does need some getting used to. Because it has such large keycaps, the key travel distance also decreased a little. The layout of the keys also shifted more towards the right, and that makes me more prone to click on the comma key when I intend to hit full stop. The keys do have a slight tactile feel to it with a nice little click. I have big hands, so it's easy for me to reach all the keys, but for anyone who has a smaller hand, you might need to move your entire hand and not just your fingers. Also, the keyboard is spill resistant, but I didn't dare to try it due to, tech anxiety issues. I'm pretty happy with the number of ports that Huawei included in the MateBook X Pro. There are two USB Type-C ports, one of which supports 65-watt fast charging, and a USB Type-A port, just in case you need to connect to any older USB devices that still use a USB Type-A. Bundled with the laptop is the MateDock 2, which further extends your laptop's connectivity to house external displays and even more devices while charging it. So the MateDock 2 provides an additional HDMI port, VGA port, USB Type-A, and USB Type-C. For performance testing, we ran some tests for the laptop using PC Mark X, Crystal Disk Mark, and Final Fantasy XVI. PC Mark X will test everyday tasks like opening up apps and softwares, rendering video, surfing websites, photo editing, and more. This also helps when conducting the battery test. Crystal Disk Mark tests the speed of the SSD in the Huawei MateBook X Pro. The SSD in the laptop is made by Samsung, and it's a 1TB PCIe NVMe model. Transfer speeds are really fast, and I have no complaints whatsoever when moving my game backups and video files. The test only shows 858 gigs because Huawei partitioned it into two disks, one for the operating system and one for the file storage. We're not really sure why Huawei did it because it's an SSD anyways, but you can always merge them back if you want with the Windows Disk Management tool. And for gaming, we use the benchmark tool from Final Fantasy XVI's Shadowbringer game. Overall, the Nvidia GeForce MX 250 performed well and could even handle Dota 2 and PUBG well above 80 frames per second. Considering how this is a productivity machine, we won't go too detailed into gaming, but we're sure that the MX 250 can handle some of the more recent games. For the MateBook X Pro's battery test, I used PC Mark X's extended test to do an indication of how the battery would perform. I started the test at 89% and the test ended at 69% after 35 minutes. In day-to-day use, casual web surfing and article writing, with some image editing, the battery could last me a day and a half. From 9 AM in the morning, the battery only died out the next day at 1:34 PM. The speakers on the Huawei MateBook X Pro might just be the best speakers I've ever heard on a laptop. The music that comes out of these four speakers just sounds so eargasmic. It's really loud, yet it doesn't distort it out, even at 100%. Because there's two speakers facing me and another two that is downward facing, the audio gets bounced back up and it creates this surround sound effect. You can hear every little detail, every little instrument that's being played in the background. When it comes to bass drops, it is so clean. And the best part is, despite the audio being so loud, the laptop chassis suffers very little rattling. The speakers sound great for both acoustic and electronic music. For the Huawei MateBook X Pro's asking price of 7,999 ringgit, it certainly is a tough price to process. But if you consider the set of features and freebies you're getting, it's quite worth it. You're not just getting yet another Windows laptop, you're getting one that is infused with Huawei DNA. And this is even more apparent if you're already knees deep within the Huawei ecosystem. The free gifts include the latest Huawei Sound X Bluetooth speaker, a Huawei Band 4 for fitness tracking, a Huawei backpack to carry your laptop around, and a Bluetooth mouse for even more comfortable work sessions. For existing users, I would recommend getting the MateBook X Pro to complete your overall Huawei experience. But for those who don't have a Huawei smartphone and need a productivity machine that will last, the MateBook X Pro should definitely be in your list of options to choose from.